If you know what's good for you, you'll follow us on Rumble. Please give this video a like and subscribe!
Here we go. And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Honey Badger Radio. RIP headphone users. Sorry, I don't know. For some reason, when I said "and," it was like peaking really hard. My name is Brian. I'm here with Alison, and this is Maintaining Frame. Make men lonelier and let the birth rate plummet to hell, where we're going to be looking at a video called Make These Dudes Lonelier and Let the Birth Rate Plummet to Hell. So...
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys, I'm going to make a prediction. I think that this is going to promote male loneliness and the destruction of pair bonding and by extension population growth. Yeah.
Well, let's be clear here. When she says let the birth rate plummet to hell, and the she in this sentence, she refers to herself, I believe, as feral feminist or bourgeois bougie or something. Feral feminist. Let's go with feral feminist.
Feral feminist.
Yeah, okay. So this is a YouTuber called Feral Feminist. And when she says let the birth rate plummet to hell, what she means is that every society that has given women advanced comforts and safety and rights should disappear from this earth. Because that's her vote. That's her vote. The society that she's part of, advanced, safe, prosperous, gives her all kinds of dopamine-inducing goods, plus the ability to avoid giving birth because, advanced pharmaceuticals, birth control pills, surgical stuff, all of that, all the whole suite that underpins women's liberation, right? She wants it to disappear because she's voting with the thing that women have always voted with, consent to reproduction. And I'm going to clarify, for most of human history, there had to be consent because, women have an obvious way of revoking their consent. They can kill their kids postpartum, and they have done so in all kinds of sagas and things throughout history. We covered one, Medea. There's also Gunnar Gunnar? Yeah, I think it was Gunnar in the Norse sagas. So this was always the nuclear option was always on the table for women. Right? They didn't want to reproduce. They just killed their kids in the crib. Now, that means that throughout most of human history, women have selected to buy into the cultures that they're a part of. And the most important way that they did that is by giving birth. And she's saying to the women, hey, do you guys enjoy liberation? Do you enjoy having jobs and power steering and air conditioning and birth control and being able to walk out at night, not in a burqa to make sure that you don't incite sexual interest, right? You enjoy all of those things. You enjoy walking around in a bikini, having an OnlyFans, being able to travel without your father's permission. You enjoy all of that stuff? Well, destroy it. Don't invest in the culture that gave it to you. Make sure it dies. Because I feel resentment for some reason. Because we all feel resentment. What a surprise, huh? Considered we've been trained, we're weak-minded women who've been trained for 50 years to find justifications for feeling resentment for men since like the 70s. Right? But because she feels resentment, all women should not buy into the culture that gave them all those freedoms and security and whatever else and let it die. That's what she's saying. Her vote, ladies, let it die. Let it die. Western culture, the supposed capitalist system, because we got somebody in the comments saying capitalism freed women, let it all die. Right? Let's go back to burqas and goats and living in rock piles and spending our days doing 12 hours labor. Let's go back to that. This is what she's voting for. It's like she's saying, let them eat cake while she has nothing. Let them eat cake. And the cake is destroying the civilization that makes cake. All right. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
That's a little bit strained, but I'll leave it there.
Not my go-to move, but you do you, I guess.
What, the cake metaphor or what she's doing?
No, what she's doing, what she's promoting, or whatever.
Yeah. Men gave women advanced Western civilization with ample rights and freedoms, and women were like, "We have to destroy this. We can't invest in this. Because we got to be even freer. How? The only more free you could be is a ghost, lady. Good Lord." I'm like looking at all this, and you have to realize there's this level of incoherence and contradiction and self-destruction and getting in the way of yourself can only come from women who are unbelievably weak-minded. Mm-hmm. Like, let's do it. Let's listen to yet another weak-minded woman tell us all how to be. Oof.
Yeah.
I probably should do the things, right?
Yes, do the things.
Okay. All right. So if any point throughout the show you want to send in commentary, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Don't try to avoid YouTube's super chat. I know you guys still send them through because it's probably convenient, but YouTube just randomly doesn't let you say stuff. Okay. So if you want to actually say stuff that doesn't go through YouTube's comment filter, then go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. It's the best way for you guys to send us a tip because, YouTube doesn't get 55% of it. And it's the best way for you to send us a comment because YouTube doesn't get 55% of that either. All right. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if you would like to support the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/support. Very much appreciated. The fundraiser is live. So you should be able to put things through. There might be a little bit of a delay before they get posted because I got this, give WP. For some reason, some support, some pledges just need a little extra TLC. But trust me, if it goes through, it'll post eventually. So feedthebadger.com/support to support the show, and badgernation.online if you want to join us. Then also see the record. The diary or the journal of my journey into the desert of feminism in search for the font of patriarchy, the mythical font of patriarchy. So far, no dice, right? Still haven't discovered where they actually prove their central concept. Starting to despair of ever finding such a thing. Right? I've found a lot of evidence of the reverse where they have disproved their concept, patriarchy, but not a lot of evidence where they've even actually made the attempt or even recognized. Although it is a very fascinating maneuver that they did with standpoint theory, basically saying we don't need to prove anything because we're women. But Bob's your uncle. Anyway, let's get back to the shoe.
Back to? You mean start the video? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Let's start the video. Okay. So let me see if hopefully the sound will work because if there's enough of a delay before, I may have to restart it, but hold on.
A man asked this question.
Okay, it's working. All right, let me just go back. All right, here we go. A man asked this question.
A man asked this question. Why do a lot of people deny young women like older men? And he asked this in the Ask Men Advice subreddit. I think that this would be more appropriately asked to a women's subreddit or a women network. So I'm asking this in my networks. All right. So he says a lot of women age 18 to 25 like older men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s for sex and relationships. But some people seem to deny or reject it happens. Obviously, anything can happen.
All right, I'm pausing there just to play it safe, but okay.
All right.
So I can already tell you right now, this woman is over 25. So she's not in the age group of young women who like older men that this guy or whoever this is on Reddit that's asking. And I think that is probably what prompted this video. I'm just saying, is it petty? A little bit. But is it accurate is the more important question. But let's
I also like to point out that this is intersexual aggression.
Yes.
So this is competition between groups of women.
Yep.
over men who are, I suppose, desirable. And she is now going to project her jealousy of younger women onto men. So let's have a listen.
Right.
And the words "a lot of people," that is very generic. I know personally, and I did actually answer this question. I was like, I am a 44-year-old woman, so obviously I'm older. But when I was in my 20s, I shuddered at the thought of dealing with an older man. Ew. And older was anyone my daddy's age. Now, as an older woman with a pretty big network of women, I periodically ask the 20-somethings, are y'all interested in older men? So many are like, hell no, or just for the money. And then I was like, actually, I'm going to make a poll question. So,
all right. Well, pausing there for the banana. She asked women in her network. So she asked a bunch of other feminist women. And they all said, no, we don't like older men. Ew. But they probably would say that about most men, regardless. It's just my speculation, of course. Okay, so she did a poll. Let's go.
I went over to my YouTube community page and made a poll question asking if you're 18 to 25, were you or are you interested in dating a man that's over the age of 30? And if you're over the ages of 18 to 25, just think back to that time. So it's going to be interesting to see how this poll pans out. But I've talked to enough women to know that typically the younger women, especially the younger women right now, are not interested. But I do want you to go ahead and chime in as, you know, if you're 20-somethings, chime in, but think back to a time when you were 20-something. Were you interested in a man who...
Again, her audience, probably not at all. And yes, the younger generation of women today are probably the most misandrist of all generations that have come before. So, yeah, maybe they'll tell you, I don't like older men, but what about just men? What about that? What about men in general? How about that?
The age of 30, 40, 50. Go ahead and chime in. If you want to do the poll, though, you got to go over to my Bourbon Bougie YouTube page. Let's look at a few of the comments underneath the post. Club Zealous Ideal says, Reddit does not reflect reality and the internet brings out the worst in people. So saying that you don't date older men or that women are not dating older men is the worst. Crispy Bacon Seller said, I have a friend from high school that started dating men in their 40s when she was in her early 20s. We're in our mid 30s now, and she's currently married to her second older husband. It's what she likes, but she has one example. That's not a lot of people. Swimming Acadia says, who's denying it happens? Moscom says, no one's denying it happens, but older women sure get pissed off about it. I happen to be an older woman and I'm not pissed off about it, but I don't believe that it's just happening like some of these people act like it's happening.
What does, okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. Can I just register not giving a fuck? All right. If young women want to date older men, so be it. Like why is this your business, lady? And why are you just demonstrating exactly what this guy is saying? It doesn't matter how many younger women want to date older women or older men, right? It doesn't matter. The fact is that it happens and people want to deny that it happens, which is exactly what she's doing. She goes to this page and says, oh, they're asserting that people do X. Well, let me do X to disprove them. Like... Well, thank you for being an example of exactly what this dude was calling out. I mean, nowhere here do I see any statistics. Like, can we look at, like, I don't know, the general social survey, if they have that kind of information? Can we get some facts in here? Like, slap some facts down on the table? All this is right now is her, like, proving the guy right.
Well, all she has... So, I mean, it's... Okay, so at this stage, this is just... one person's anecdotal evidence versus another person's anecdotal evidence. So this is kind of like a pointless, whatever the opposite of a circle jerk is. And, but on her, she's the one that feels the need to talk about it. Because when the person said a lot of women are into that, yes, the word a lot is an equivocation. It doesn't really tell you a bunch, really. I mean, you could say, yes, there are a number. And the thing is, if that original statement, there's really nothing offensive about it. A lot of women like that. Yeah, a lot of women do. How much is a lot? I don't know. But I mean, it's more than a few. So, but is he saying it's the majority? No. Is he saying it's all of them? Obviously not. So then why is this a problem? I mean, you can't actually debunk that because there's nothing to debunk. It's just a general statement that he's making, and she's kind of spurging out on it. And I think the reason is because she's an older woman and she doesn't like the fact that there are younger women, however many there are, that like the company of older men, which they do. I mean, that exists. So why is this an issue? And I think it's because she's resentful and angry about it for what, because like she can't turn back the clock. It's going to keep going forward. She's only going to get older and she's going to be less appealing over time. There's nothing that can be done. So maybe try to be a decent person instead, because you can't make yourself younger.
Impossible. Impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Be decent. That's crazy. But I mean, instead,
and understand that men are people too. No, impossible.
Yeah, men have preferences, and women also have preferences, and some of those men and women are gonna want things that you don't like. But you know what? It's none of your business. So, and their reasoning for it doesn't matter either. There could be a young golden. You know what? Actually, something just happened recently with an older man. Does anybody know how old Drake is these days? Anybody? I'm gonna look it up. So like Drake, who was a musician, he was on that show Degrassi High or whatever. He was born in 1986. Degrassi Junior High. Okay. He was born in 1986.
High school.
I think it was, I don't know. I never watched that show, but he was born in 86. He is he's got to be, that means he's like 40. Okay. So it's actually not, I thought he was older than that. So he's like 40 years old. And he recently, and it was probably just like, I'm sorry, hold on. It was probably just like a promotional thing like that that he did, but he did some kind of like dating show thing, like Bachelorette or dating game thing with a couple of female influencers. And one of them is a girl named, the one who won was this like e-thought goth girl named Pink Chew or something. And she's only 23. So she's into older men. I'm just saying it exists. That's my anecdote. That's me throwing my hat in the ring. Goth girl Pink Chew is 23 and she basically won like a dating game show with Drake, who is 40, maybe 41, something like that. So, okay. So is she like a handmaid of the patriarchy? Does he hate women? Like, what does that mean? I mean, women in general.
She doesn't exist. Like, Brian, we have to go with the register of this woman. That doesn't happen. Like, what a losing proposition, trying to argue that this doesn't happen or trying to argue somebody's a lot. Like, okay, just guys, don't argue a lot. Like, that's like when somebody says a lot of something, unless you have the stats and you're like, is 1% a lot? Right? Just don't, because that's like just interpretation territory. It's basically just farting at each other territory, trying to fight each other with your farts. And you're not in a Monty Python sketch, so don't do that. But that's what this is. Like, they're both trying to fight each other with farts.
Well, both? I mean, the guy probably was just saying, like, why are women out here pretending to be lying on themselves, pretending to be something they're not? He's not even fighting. He's just proposing a question. Maybe it's rhetorical,
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So she is fighting a rhetorical question with a fart.
Yes.
Yes.
That's basically what it is.
That needs to be a fartacy, like a logical fallacy. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah.
Continue.
Anyway, I'll just keep playing the video. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is already like, a non-existent foundation So how you're going to get a half hour of content out of this? This is going to be, let's watch the master work. Okay?
That's their remarkable skill, though, Brian. This is what I noticed.
It's rhetoric. I do have some things.
Available space.
Yeah, I do have some things to read out. So Roboto gave us $1 on Rumble and said, but women choose the burqa. And then an anonymous person gave us $5 super chow, but they didn't say anything. So I don't know if you meant to say something. And we got a super chow last night after Hannah's show. But we could just tag that to be read out. It's likely off topic anyway. All right, so let's keep going.
And most of us older women were young before. That's why many of us answer the way we do.
Yeah, but in your day when you were young, the environment, although still hostile towards men, is nothing like it is now. In fact, when you were young, you were busy creating the environment that now we're living through. But this is what they do. They create the problem, and then they act like there's no problem. And then when you say there's a problem, they offer the placebo, which is the opposite of the problem, but doesn't even solve the problem anyway. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Joni.
What?
All right. I want to say, I forgot what I want to say. Continue.
Okay.
Himself says, lots of older women like younger guys too. Crispy Bacon Salad says, my husband is 8 years younger than me. Not that far off, but I'm still older. Most dope black guy says they don't really act on it though. I don't know why men continue to speak on women. They should really go speak to women in women's subs or co-ed spaces, but they don't. They really
because women are the worst sources on women. Like literally, even scientists know this. That's why they do all kinds of stuff to control women's. They always want to answer things according to what they think gives them social credit and status and preserves their status. Right? Yep. That's so you can't just take women, and women are notorious for this, and social scientists know this. They won't say it, but they know it. So they have to create additional control mechanisms to prevent their surveys being distorted by social desirability bias, which is bigger in women. Like men will just fucking tell you. Right, that might have its own little difficulty there, but women will always want to aim for whatever preserves their social status, and that's what it is. I mean, people will say, "Oh, it's desirability," like they want to be desired. They're being influenced, it's pressure. It's like they just want to preserve their status. Right? It's a very status orientated reflex. This woman is trying to preserve her status as desirable right now.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous because no, lady, you are not as desirable as a 20-year-old. Right? That's why you got to bag a man when you're 20. Jesus Christ. And then just build a life for him. Or you end up in this kind of meat hook reality where you're 50 years old, you're single, and all you're attracting is men who want a one-night stand or lunatics who are just as crazy as you are. Right? That's it. That is the limitation. It is unfortunate. And the thing is that the standards for income have become so high, so unbearably high. Because what was happening 60, 100 years ago was a situation in which the standards for income were low enough that young men who might have prospects or other skills, because, for example, being able to work a farm was not necessarily something that reflected on your income, but was an important skill at the time, right? They could get married young because the women weren't expecting them to come pre-digested, pre-credentialed, already with substantial salaries. And because of that, people would be pairing up young, which is actually a good thing, right? Both men and women, if you want to get them started when they're at their peak health and fertility, get them having children then.
Yeah.
Right. But that was an effect of women choosing men who were not yet, their ship hadn't necessarily come in yet. Right. Or choosing men where maybe the ship wouldn't come in, but she and him, they build a life together. through their mutual labor and commitment. That changes over time as women's financial expectations increase from what a 20-year-old can be expected to provide to what a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, and now we're probably in the 60s and 70s. Like, you're going to end up with 18-year-old women with 70-year-old men because that's the only well, not 70, but like 65, because a man at the end of his career with the highest amount of earnings he'll ever have is the only man that whose income she'll accept. Right? And that is entirely due to hypergamy, my dear. If you want to change that, then maybe control that. Control your financial expectations, ladies, and maybe younger men will fulfill them. Because as it stands, what you apparently want is a man who looks like he's in his 20s, earns like he's in his 50s, and is wise like he's in his 70s, which is impossible. All right? Maybe cut down on some of that and just want a slightly, 20-year-old guy, still probably like a little bit childish. I mean, I don't say that badly because so am I, right? But, not as mature as a guy facing like end of life philosophical questions. Doesn't earn as much as a guy in his prime earning years. Just take down those other expectations, and you will be able to start pairing up with 20-year-old men. What was this woman thinking when she was like 20? I bet she was jumping over it or excluding men because they were scrubs, right? Yeah. What does that mean? They didn't earn enough for her. What does that actually functionally mean? It means that she wants a man who earns in an age bracket well above her age bracket. Now she's screwed because she's moving into her 50s. There's no men earning above her age bracket. They're retired. Mm-hmm. She waited too long for that. But literally, she probably went through her life thinking that every man who was earning average for his age was a scrub, wasn't good enough. So the 20-year-old guys who were earning the wages that are common for 20-year-old guys, not good enough when she was 20, 30, not good enough when she was 30, 40, probably not good enough now. And she basically excluded herself out of all of that because she wouldn't date older, and now she's alone. That's it. Mm-hmm. We are watching the story of someone getting in their own way and then blaming everybody else. And there you go. If you want to marry a young man, guys, ladies, you're gonna have to let go of your hypergamy and accept that he won't be earning the top of his career ladder at 20 or in his 20s or even in his 30s. Okay? Yeah. The fact that these women are going after older men, hypergamy, you want that to stop? Rein it in. But the thing is that she is an example of it too. Single at 44, probably. Why? Because no man lived up to her standards. Why? Because she never had realistic income standards for the ages that she was attracted to. So she never settled down. And now she's looking back at the smoking crater that she made of her own life. And she's looking at the girls who are making those compromises. Okay, if I want a man who earns like he's a 40-year-old, I'm going to have to get a 40-year-old man. If I want a man who earns like he's a 50-year-old, I'm going to have to get a 50-year-old man, right? They're making those compromises, and I'm going to have to compromise on age, and she's calling them out, right? Yeah, just because you screwed up your life doesn't mean you have to drag other women down. Or no, she's calling out the men because she's like, well, I can't attack the women because sisterhood, right? So I'm going to attack the men that these women are choosing so that the pool dries up. Or I'm going to try to convince these women that their choices are icky so the pool dries up. And literally, probably, okay, now this is inference again. Like, the reason why she's single is, again, that mismatch between the age she found attractive physically and the age she found attractive financially. And she never reconciled it, and now she's going after women who have. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Like, Bovine Joni himself says, yeah, they do. At least in my experience, I dated so many women in their 30s when I was in my 20s. It was amazing. Most dope black man says, I'm not talking 30s. I never considered them old. I'm talking 40 and up. Bovine Joni says 30s to 20s is a pretty big age gap as it is. I can see why 40-year-olds might be hesitant to date a dude in his 20s. And this dude at the bottom says, yep, 17 and 34 rocked my world. Most dope black man says that's...
Paul, let me pause for a second. Is she just going to read an entire thread? Is that the video? Who sent this in? Who sent this?
It
All
was
right.
Cron Strong.
I know.
It was great
Is it just her reading the entire thread? Like, couldn't we just read the thread ourselves? Okay, so let me see.
At least she's narrative. Like she's offering like a reading of the thread, so it's not just us reading.
Yeah, you know? I guess. All right. Well,
I guess.
let's keep going. Let's just keep going.
Because they have to compete with younger women and they think it's unfair. But as a man, you turn 18 and now you have to compete with men who are established at 30 and 40. It's not fair, but I feel like it's one aspect of human nature that's balanced and not a double standard.
What are you talking about? Let me read that guy's comment again. That's because they have to compete with younger women and they think it's unfair. But as a man, you turn 18 and now you got to compete with men who are established at 30 and 40. It's not fair, but I feel like it's one aspect of human nature that's balanced. I mean, human nature is not something that you look at and say, is this thing balanced or not balanced? It just is. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Why are we even saying, oh, it's not fair? No, it's just life, bro. Just adapt. Same thing for the ladies. Like, you get old, you lose. Women lose their sexual market value as they get older. Men gain their sexual market value as they get older. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I don't know what to tell you. Like, why are you even looking at it in the framework of fair and unfair is boggling, because it's just reality, guys. Reality. Reality's not fair, okay?
But also she's not like responding to reality. You know, this is what's really annoying. You remember that meme with the bicycle and the spokes, like putting like the guy on the bike. The guy is like on the bike and he puts a stick in the spokes and falls over and blames something else. Yeah. If you are going to have a mismatch between the men you find physically attractive and, you know, the age of men you find physically attractive and the age of men you find financially attractive, then you're going to like pre-select yourself out of having a relationship. So one or the other has to. So it's your hypergamy that's destroying you. You know, that's leading to this woman. I really doubt she has a partner, right? I for some reason there's I got a real big doubt. Like the feminists who tend to have partners tend to have more of a, you know, like a little bit more of a calculated or kind of put together kind of presentation, if you know what I mean, Brian. Not like this. This is a little incoherent, even for a feminist. But yeah, so it's like I think she screwed herself with that mismatch, and a lot of women are. And you're going to see probably more attacking women who've actually resolved that in favor of financial attractiveness. But the interesting thing is judging from my analysis of this video, she attacks women who resolve it in favor of physical like the age they find physically attractive too. Like it's fascinating. Anyway, I'm going to tell you when she stops reading this thread if you want to avoid it. It
yeah, sure. Then we can get to like
14:29.
She reads this motherfucker for 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. What minute are we on anyway?
4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, we don't have to. Like the thing is, we don't have to continue this because I despair of a feminist reading a thread and arguing with it. It just seems like it's a nonsense generating device.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I did get a super chow that I should read. Are you
okay? Good.
Yeah, let me read it. Gary Thomas gave us $5 super chow. He says, "I was the previous anonymous giver. Sorry. It's okay. I'm just making sure because I think sometimes people don't know.
Yes, you should be deeply sorry for giving us $5.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you definitely.
Also, I watch a YouTube channel much like this one that is specifically about Black women empowerment that constantly talks about women getting murdered or assaulted by their boyfriends or husbands and how men can't be trusted while also talking about how she wants to get married and have children. Keep in mind, this woman is closing in on 40 with no husband or kids in sight. This woman is already past 40. Maybe you're talking about the woman that you're watching. She never seems to realize how these two things she talks about constantly contradict each other. Well, the thing is that basically this is a cope for not being able to vet men. Like she has problems with men, but she's selecting men probably for the traits that she doesn't like. So what she wants is a man that can be violent but not against her. She wants a man that can be violent on her behalf for other men, like against other men or maybe even women. So it's not really a contradiction so much as what she's looking for. It's just that she thinks that she can have something that's volatile. It's like, and look, I know that some people are going to like cape for pit bulls, and I'm not saying this to like throw blanket statements about pit bulls out there. But if you say, I want a pit bull because I like how vicious they can be, then don't be surprised when they're vicious. That's all. Like if you get one specifically for that reason and it bites you or somebody you can't be like, well, I hate pit bulls now. They're not biting my enemies. They're biting me. Right. So I think that the issue is not that it's a contradiction like that, but I think it's just that the kind of men she's looking for are those kinds of men. So anyway. All right, that was the super chow. Let's get into the video now that we've skipped ahead.
And if he was lying in the past, I don't think I can move past overhearing this. So this is the last comment that she put on her post. So we shall see. But she says that he has 312 out. So that's 3 days from now. So we shall see. If somebody can remember to remind me to go back and check, that would be amazing. But let me know what you think so far. So y'all know that I am team let the birth rate plummet to hell. So people tag me in posts that go along with the things that I'm saying. So this is a Threads post from a woman named Dr. Mika.
Oh,
she says women
more threads.
The world and increase in
what?
More threads. Okay, no, let's go through it.
All right, let's go through it. This is content, guys. How many subs does she have?
Birth rates. Every few months, there's a new headline. Fertility crisis, declining birth rates. Who will take care of the aging population? And every time the finger points at women. Have more.
No, it doesn't.
Sacrifice
more.
No.
Okay. All right. No. We've gone through a bunch of them. The finger almost always points at men.
Yeah. Why aren't you wifing these hoes? Programs. Step up. Right.
Yeah. Or government programs. The reason why you're saying the finger points at women is because some nascent logic instinct in you has correctly identified the actual causal actor. But nobody else, like nobody in public will do it except us. Okay? Mm-hmm. We'll do it. Right? Everybody else hedges. I'm sorry. Like every political position hedges on this issue, and none hedge harder than the left. They refuse to recognize women's culpability in anything because if they did, they would be, it would essentially violate their foundational moral organizing principles, which really aren't moral, but whatever. So nobody can say it. Nobody points the finger at women. And I know that because I have to almost every day say, yes, I blame women. I blame women and you cannot stop me because nobody does. Mm-hmm. Nobody does consistently, except maybe men's rights activists, and even some of them will hedge. Right? No, women are to blame. You know why you're saying they blame women? Because women are to blame, logically, factually. And if you actually thought about it, it's an absolutely insane own. Oh, we got a society that gave us freedom even from our own biology. Let's destroy it by refusing to reproduce in it. Like, what kind of self-own is that?
Epic.
It's an epic cell phone.
Epic cell phone.
Like, this is the kind of cell phone that goes viral. It's like the World Cup cell phone.
Epic. Yeah.
And you are, not only are you doing it to yourselves, right? So you have only yourself to blame, lady, but you're also providing the own cover for your cell phone and saying, no, that wasn't this isn't a cell phone. This is a goal. We're scoring against patriarchy. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. If women can't take responsibility for their actions here, they don't deserve recognition for adult autonomy. Right? If you are literally, she's saying, women, let's do this thing to stick it to the society that gave us rights. And then in the next breath, she says, why do people blame women for doing this thing that I explicitly told women to do? Right? Okay. So are women supposed to do this thing but not have the ability to do it? Like literally in her headline, it's like, let's make this situation worse, women. And then she's like, well, why are people blaming women for making the situation worse? Right? She acknowledges that women have the power here, but then says, I can't believe what people are blaming women for having the power that you've just appealed upon to make it worse. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to women like this. I try to tell women not to listen to women like this because they're incoherent, right? And mostly motivated by a seething hatred of other women, let's be honest. She's not doing this because she hates men. She's doing this because she's using men as a tool in her campaign against women who didn't screw up their lives and are substantially more attractive than her because they're younger. Right? Mm-hmm. That's it. Like this is the funny thing about women. They talk about hating women. But as far as I can tell, most women have a seething hatred for each other. Right? A seething hatred, but they're too insecure because they feel like they have to be in a herd for safety to actually be vocal about it. Like me, I just have disappointment, right? I don't hate women. I'm just truly disappointed.
Daughter, like, I am disappointed.
Yes. Like, I'm just like, I don't hate you guys, right? I don't hate myself. I don't hate other women. But goddamn, could you just be a little better? Just elevate yourselves a little bit, right? But the thing is that most women, they see other women as threats to their resources, which is exactly what this woman is doing. So they're in a constant battle with other women. But at the same time, being a woman is how they get access to those resources. So they have to sort of herd with other women and present a united front, or they lose access to resources as a group. But at the same time, they're constantly competing as individual for access to those resources. So it creates a very, like a group of people that absolutely loathe each other, but cannot get away from each other, which is probably why they project that attitude onto men, right? They say that men desperately want to be in relationships with women, but they hate them. No, that's you, ladies. You desperately want to be in a herd with other women that you despise and that you are constantly battling and doing relational aggression against. You know, and like here I am, like I said, to right now, I'm just disappointed. This is disappointing. I am in a state of permanent and possibly completely entrenched disappointment over my sex. All right, let's continue.
All right, let's continue.
Save the economy, but let's be clear. Women are not incubators for GDP. We are not vessels for demographic policy.
Yeah, then men are not labor for your entitlements. Right? You're not incubators for the GDP, right? Where do you think the money comes from for you to have all of the things that you enjoy? And not just free childcare, welfare, whatever else, but also a safe society that you can walk down the street, even though you think that you aren't able to walk down the street. The fact that you do, despite having neurotic fears, is evidence that the society actually is safe. Because believe me, in a society that isn't safe, women aren't doing that at all. So men are constructing a society that's safe. They're constructing a society that's traversable using male innovations like power steering and AC and truck or like car cabs, right? All of this stuff.
Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? All of this stuff
Roads
is underwritten by men's labor. Indoor heating, AC, like everything, electricity, the internet, all underwritten by male labor. So when she says we are not responsible for giving birth to the GDP, how are men's bodies responsible for making the world that you currently occupy? Right? Why is it you get a claim on men's bodies, but men don't get a claim on you doing the basic investment in maintaining the society? And why? Like, this is the thing. Like, she's 44, right? She's
I think she said
encouraging.
44.
She is encouraging that she will live in a hellish dystopia when she's at the most frail and vulnerable years of her life. Right? She's like, let's cause the whole system to collapse. Right? Well, whose head do you think it's going to collapse on? Okay, I hate to tell you, lady, but a 60-year-old man has more capability than you will in 20 years. 64-year-old man, right? You're going to hit menopause. You're going to lose like half of your bone mass and your muscle mass. And you won't have any wisdom to, because this is the thing, like there's a like anthropological like hypothesis that like killer whales. So with killer whales, they have these elder females that live for like decades after they stop reproducing. And the explanation for that is that the elder females have knowledge of the greater territory that they travel through, and can teach the other members of the pod certain survival skills that otherwise wouldn't be transferred generation to generation. So the reason for quote unquote menopause in killer whales is because it transitions the elder females into a role of wisdom, conveying wisdom to the younger generation. This woman is not conveying wisdom to the younger generation.
Yeah.
She's still in competition with them.
She's still, she's sabotaging them. She's still competing with them.
Yes, she's sabotaging. She's still competing. She is not delivering wisdom. She's not explaining how to have a reasonable, how to have a relationship with a man, appreciate what men give you, understand it, and not feel anxiety that you're going to lose yourself in the process. Because that's sort of a legitimate anxiety women have. They have an anxiety that they're going to lose themselves when they love men. And they need women who've gone through the process to explain to them, no, that's not how it works. Okay? You're not going to lose yourself. You'll be fine. That's an aspect of wisdom, right? She's not doing that. So she's going to go into her 60s with absolutely nothing to offer anyone. Nothing.
Yep.
Except a lot of destruction of the very forbearance and tolerance that would allow a 60-year-old woman with absolutely nothing to offer to still be taken care of. That's it. That's advanced society, guys. This woman, if she wants to have a reasonably comfortable elder years, that requires an advanced society that gives a crap. And that's what she's destroying. And she's destroying it in a timeline where that's going to fall on her head. So we're watching this woman, chop down a tree that's directly over top her, and the way that she's chopping it down is going to fall on her. And it's like, again, another gigantic self-own by the very disappointing woman crowd. which they're trying to frame as, for some reason, if they think that if everybody believes it isn't a cell phone, it's actually a goal against patriarchy, that suddenly it stops being the stupidest possible thing you could do to yourself. Oh, if everybody believes I did something really cool, then it was. No, it's still a weak-minded woman destroying something she relies on because she's too weak-minded to actually recognize the causal relationship between her situation and what she's destroying. Okay.
All right. I got a Rumble rant for $1 from Roboto. And he says, women tend to dislike safe. They like the danger, not all. I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to push back on that because I know that it's sort of like a stereotype or like a common thing you see where women go after the bad boy. And they'll say because they like the danger, but I'm going to say that they don't. They actually really do want to feel safe. And the danger that they're chasing, quote unquote, is a danger that's in a certain context that's as safe as they think it can be, right? And I'm not talking about a violent man, but I mean, like, when women say they want danger in a controlled environment that's actually safe. So they want to feel like it could be dangerous, but there's no danger. It's like they want to go to a horror film because they want to be scared, but they know that nothing's really going to happen. They get on a roller coaster ride because there'll be a thrill. They'll get like the thrill and the fear of like, going down the thing, down the dip or whatever, do the loops, but they're not actually in danger. It's controlled. It's like, you want to go bungee jumping. Okay, let's go bungee jumping. But I want like an entire team of people and all of the best possible equipment. And I want to, to make sure that nothing's going to happen. I mean, granted, there's always a small risk of something, but the point is they're not really in favor of danger. They want the feeling of danger, but no real danger. They just want to be safe, honestly. So, and it's not even like a contradiction. It's just that I think that's most of it. Like, I think that most women, their lives are so safe, so secure, so prosperous, so abundant that their idea of danger is like, driving into a small town where there's only one gas station and, possibly running out of gas. Like that's, it's not the same. It's not like what she's advocating for is just letting the population collapse. That would actually be the end of civilization. And they don't even know what that would look like. They have no concept of how bad it's going to get if they do that. So anyway, that's my take on it. It's a controlled danger. It's not real.
Oh, my take on what she said, or this whole thing, is we have to realize that this is a 44-year-old woman counseling women not to give birth. Mm-hmm. Like realistically, that option is already off the table for her. So now she's saying to other women who might still have the ability to give birth, yeah, don't do that. Don't contribute to the society that I enjoyed while I was, for 44 years. Let's burn it all down. This is, I wonder if this is actually sort of like end of life resentment. Like she's, because she's going through not necessarily like that she's going to die, but she's going through the fact that she's probably never going to have children, right? And for some reason, she's attacking that potential in younger women. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is motivated by jealousy and nihilism.
100%.
And
the
particular jealousy and nihilism of somebody who's realized that they're losing a capacity, and that other people still have it.
She hasn't made peace with the consequences of her own actions. She hasn't accepted that she has essentially driven away every prospect to have a man and a family. And that's what I'm banking on. I don't know for sure, but that's what because why would you be talking about other people's preferences if it wasn't something that was on your mind? And now that she's in her mid 40s, probably menopausal and still single and no kids, I'm guessing, then yeah, it's like a big problem, but there's no taking it back now. You're here.
You're here.
So,
and you could
do?
transition to actually assisting the creation of a stable system. And ironically, that would facilitate you being taken care of in your 60s, lady. But I guess she doesn't see that far ahead. Like I said, these are massive self-owns. She's destroying the system that would take care of her when she's unable to take care of herself. And she's calling it a win. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. And she's not cultivating the wisdom that would make her valuable as an elderly woman, or the consideration, or, you know, baking cookies, whatever. Right? And yet here we are, we have men who not only are net contributors for taxes in the culture, meaning that they are underwriting all of the programs that she enjoys, not just the innovations and the infrastructure, right? They develop skills. So even in their 60s, men can be valuable because they have implicit knowledge that is needed to run the society. What the hell is her contribution? Like, we're looking at an entitled person who believes that she doesn't have to offer anything to the society that sustains her, including the one contribution that sustains the society that sustains her. It is, like I said, it is disappointment. Profound.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Autonomy. And you can see what's going on in politics, where they are trying to strip our autonomy. They're trying to strip our capacity to make money. They're taking away Head Start and things like that, where moms can actually go to work and have a place for their children. They're doing this systematically.
Are they? Is that happening? Are they getting rid of Head Start? I feel like that's not happening.
Where are the grandmas?
Yeah, like, where are your grandmas? Where's grandma? Where's the retired? Where's your
grandma,
retired? Your grandfather, for that matter? Where's your extended family?
Is grandma like out there in the nightclubs trying to pick up 20-year-old? Yeah, with
she had Bella Noche.
Yeah, with a what was it, that bejeweled, that vajazzler?
Oh, the vajazzler.
Jewelry.
Oh shit,
Like,
I remember that. That's a throwback. Merkin.
What a surprise!
A bedazzled Merkin.
Isn't it interesting that these women are promoting a culture in which women have absolutely no sense of responsibility to anybody but themselves and their own pleasure, and somehow they don't have any childcare when they have children, when that childcare used to be provided by a particular relative who had a sense of responsibility to her family. And now she wants men to provide it through taxes, because grandma isn't providing it anymore because she's out there getting plowed. Like, okay. So literally, men need to underwrite every aspect of women's existence and the things that they used to provide for their families and their communities and their societies. But of course, they can't create an artificial womb as like the final, like, okay, well, you won't do it, I guess we have to do it. No, these women still want the power to destroy society. They just don't want to have any obligation to save it, nor do they want to be blamed for their choices to destroy society, while they are calling for women to take those choices to destroy society. Okay. Oh, God.
All right, let's keep going.
Because they want to make sure that we are just incubators and not humans with autonomy. But I love that so many people are having these conversations.
If men wanted that, that would just be like, if men wanted that, you would just be incubators. You wouldn't be able to stop it.
Well,
so it's obvious that they're not. No, I'm just saying, like, if you're making the claim that, oh, the men, the system, whatever, they want to turn women into incubators, if that were true, you would just be incubators. It would be fucking, Mad Max Fury Road. There'd be fucking tubes coming out of your boobs. We just drain you for all of your nutrients and resources and give them to babies, and there would be harems and everything. But that's not happening because it's not true, because you're lying. Yeah. Because men won't do that as much as I kind of want them to just fucking take your rights away already. Men are not doing it. So.
And they probably won't.
No, they probably won't.
And the reason why is that men get invested in terms of their identities, in terms of the resources they provide women. And in our society, that's these much vaunted rights and freedoms. But men don't even have to take anything away. They can just sort of not provide it. Like, imagine if men had just been like, we could make the birth control pill, but yeah, let's not.
Yeah, right. They gave them the birth control pill. They gave them time and energy saving gadgets like washing machines and, dishwashers and microwave ovens and ovens. I mean, like, the list goes on.
And men could have just said, we could give you the vote, ladies, but you got to go to war first. And that would have been the end of that. You got to do the same thing we ask of men, right? Men, all they have to do is put women back into the position of incubators, is enforce true equality. No government programs, no birth control. Women will have the same amount of birth control and reproductive rights as men, which is to say almost none. Okay. Men, even when they are sexually assaulted, still have to take financial responsibility for the resultant child. So you can have equal birth and reproductive rights to men. You can have an equal right to the vote as men, which means that you are conscripted. And here's the thing: we can't go back in time and fix this particular injustice, because groups of men had to fight in war before they were even considered. They even had an argument for being recognized as having a say in government. That wasn't the case for women. They've already gotten the great injustice of getting the vote without having first had to sacrifice in war, which has been the continuous bar that men have had to lift themselves over. Any group of men had to do that, right? So black men had to fight in the Civil War before they were considered for the franchise, right? Poor men had to fight in World War II or World War I before they were considered for the franchise. That has been consistent. There's always been that tie. And they like to argue because it's not like a direct tie, like people nowadays don't have to. No, it was always a precursor tie, and women did not have to. And that that is the first thing that really bugs me about feminist conjecture, is they didn't recognize that women got a better deal than men, a stupendously better deal. So men could have just enforced equality on women and been like, no, if you want the vote, you have to die in war first. No, we're not going to tell you that you will necessarily give the vote for dying in war. Dying in war is just a precondition before being recognized as a citizen. That's it. Mm-hmm. You're not a citizen of a country until you're willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for upholding its existence. And then, from there, you just keep enforcing equality on women, and women's choices are basically step up and carry the weight of a man, or become a mother, wife, and mother. And when that is the actual choice, when we're not underwriting this facade, this farce of women's equality, then women choose wife and mother. And and men can make that choice happen, not by withdrawing anything, but by enforcing true equality.
Yeah.
And incidentally, why do these women consider it some kind of horrifying thing to be a wife and a mother?
They don't think that they should be expected to do anything. So it's not really about the specific, act itself. If society was basically saying, instead of expecting women to be wives and mothers, they expected them to be working girls, they would probably recoil against that as well, because
any expectation.
They don't want anyone to have expectations. And I think I said this years ago. Feminism is all it is a tool to allow women to avoid not just accountability, but before even accountability, it's judgment. They don't want people to have opinions on them at all, unless they're absolutely unconditionally positive, in which case feel free to flatter us. But even then, they'll probably get upset with them, but ultimately, it's not about. They think that life is basically just, there are people who just get things and there are people who don't, and they don't think they're getting anything. So, and none of it has anything to do with what do you owe society? That doesn't come up at all.
Or even what is necessary for you to do to maintain the society
but
you're enjoying.
that's what yes, but like that is like when you're born here in whatever country it is. I'm going to speak as an American because this is where I'm born in the United States. When you're born here, you are born into a multiple generations of other people who have invested their time, their blood, sweat, and tears into building the civilization that you get to enjoy the comforts of. But on some level, you have to understand that you are also a part of that same mechanism, and you have to keep it going, right? Whatever way you can. Not everyone is able to have kids. Not everyone is able to form families. I understand that. I'm one of those people. But then, like, what do? You should be asking yourself, what do I do to pay back the society that has given me so much? And women like this, they have no appreciation for that. They take it all for granted. And it's because they are so divorced from the reality of how good they have it. They're not able to see what the world looks like without it, which is why they resent it and take it for granted. So, and I mean, you know, I hope it doesn't happen in my lifetime, but things will probably get worse, and they will start to see that they contributed to the problems they're going to have because they didn't prepare another generation, because they didn't have children, because they didn't care, because they thought that for whatever reason, they were going to like live forever and have all the men they want and constantly just have food and shelter and clothing and entertainment and sex, right? And that none of that's going to change, and none of it is on borrowed time, and none of it is fragile. And I think that's the reason why it's fragile, because they don't understand like how good things are, you know?
Yeah. Well, and also they've been trained for like 50 years to seek out resentment. That's what feminism has done, right? Like when you look at the Red Stockings Manifesto and all of the behavior and assertions around it, it's just resentment. That these women felt resentment, and then they went to look for an excuse for their resentment, and then they said feeling, theory, action. Right? What they mean is impression, like feeling. Yes, sure. Conjecture that supports the feeling, or whatever excuse we can make to justify the feeling, and then nagging men. So, but women who are trained this way see resentments everywhere. That's what they're trained to do. They're trained to identify resentments, justify them, and then take action based on those resentments. That's what this is an evidence of. And the thing is that the women who buy into this are very weak-minded. They are just incapable of questioning their socialization, to seek out resentments, to seek out justifying those resentments, and then taking action on them. And this is this is the formula that feminism has taught girls for 50 years. This is their coping form. This is their basic strategy for existence.
Yeah.
Okay. And you see it, like once you understand that, you see how it replicates everywhere in all of the media that these women are putting out. And the problem is that strategy, while it's useful to get men to do stuff, is not useful for learning wisdom and skills and capabilities, and also understanding how things work. Because if you think causality is basically I feel a resentment, I justify the resentment, I act upon it, which is basically just nagging men to do something, let's face it, that's your causality, then you don't understand that your actions matter and have an effect on the greater world, and that when you counsel young women to stop having babies, when you're 60, you're not going to have a social system to rely on. Right? You're just going to have chaos, and you're going to be up against a failed state. Like that's what she's aiming for. She's like, I'm 40. I'd like to create a failed state when I'm 60. That's That's a goal. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to live in a failed state when I'm 60. That's one hell of a goal, lady. That's one hell of a life goal. Bucket list. I want to be dragged into the street and lit on fire when I'm for my retirement package. Like, okay, that's I don't know if I want to buy into that, but of course, all of the weak-minded seals in her audience are just clapping. You go, girl. Yeah, I also want a failed state. I also want to destroy all of the things that I enjoy and just to stick it to the man. Because I have resentments that my relatively utopian life isn't utopian enough. Good Lord. And this, you got to know that this is a level of self-own and an inability to recognize that you're constructing a self-own is because these are weak-minded people. Okay.
All right, I got
Weak-minded women.
a couple super chows. So
Okay.
Xerinx gave us $5 and said, I have the idea that the Industrial Revolution disrupted the connection between matrons and maidens from matriarchs, and that feminism encouraged the divide, and that's why we have the situation we have today with maidens, matrons, and matriarchs competing for the same men. Then I learned about the real origin of Snow White, with the queen being Snow's biological mother. Now I'm starting to think the Industrial Revolution having men leave the home constantly might be the culprit, with needless wars encouraging the breakdown. Probably nonsensical.
No, it's not nonsensical. We are like after this is a couple hundred like 6 or 7 generations of a very unnatural situation. Humans, I don't think, are meant to be this detached from their fathers at all. And I think that when we moved from a situation where children, there were family businesses, there's farms, even the aristocracy, your father would teach you how to hunt and war and stuff like that. They'd even teach their daughters a certain amount of that. And, so there was this socialization that the father was greatly involved in, that disappeared in the Industrial Revolution because men took the sacrifice. Somebody had to go bust up his body doing the industrial work so that the family could be supplied. Like that was a completely artificial reality. And men did it because they generally are the ones who are first in line for the sacrifices, so that the women don't have to destroy themselves doing these jobs. And not just that, like, it's hard for the women to do that for strength and anatomical reasons, And then also they are limited by childbirth and rearing. So it just landed on the father, but we're never meant to have these kinds of fathers that didn't have a strong social connection to their children. This is completely unnatural. So a lot of this could be an effect of fatherlessness or insufficient fathering. Right. And interestingly enough, not Hartsock, but Chudrow actually presented this as part of the reason why there might be this kind of damage in children. That was back in I think the 60s or the 70s. Chudrow presented the idea that men have, or there's a damaged connection between men and other people because fathers aren't allowed to raise their children, which actually is pretty reasonable for, I think she might have been a feminist, or maybe she was an anthropologist. And then Hartsock took that, who is a feminist, and said that boys differentiating from their moms turns them into ogres with no feelings. Therefore, we don't have to listen to their opinions about themselves. We know best. So it's it's interesting that back then they were even suggesting, hey, wait, there's a lot more father involvement in the raising of children in the past. Maybe that's had a bad effect on us. And I would say, yeah, that's true. It probably has. And if I'm right with my look into anthropology, also shout out to Iramis for giving me that final anatomical puzzle piece that I was looking for. I was originally looking at the the scapula, so like the bone and the shoulder blade, as the anatomical change that was made in men to facilitate carrying children, but it looks like it's the male pelvis, because it's the male pelvis. The human male pelvis is actually different from the human female pelvis, and the human female pelvis is the same archaic pelvis that we shared with the common ancestor we shared with Neanderthals. So to explain that, women have the same pelvis as Neanderthals. Men have a distinctly different pelvic shape and orientation. And that distinctly different pelvis looks like it facilitates carrying things or moving under load. So, and to bring it back to fatherhood, that means that men evolved the ability to carry heavy things and with a precision grip, which means heavy things that needed to get to their location alive, that without undamaged, basically. If you've ever played Repo, that's a big ask, getting things to their location undamaged. But yeah, the precision grip is about carrying something that you need to keep unharmed, that you need to make sure isn't harmed by the way you're gripping it. So what is that? That's carrying offspring, right? So if I'm right, and this is my hypothesis, which hits a lot of convergent factors and anatomical differences, and like things like the range of Homo sapiens increasing over Homo neanderthalis. If I'm right, then men are actually evolutionarily supposed to be in very close contact with their children into like their teen years, right? So they're carrying their kids, they're moving their kids around, they're teaching their kids. Probably why The Road, if you guys remember that movie, is like one of the that is like Fatherhood the movie.
Yes.
The Road by McCormick. Yeah. That and it's basically just a father traveling with his kid and taking care of his kid. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's Fatherhood the movie. It's a father traveling with his kid, making sure his kid keeps up, is able to survive. And that means that men had a very extended contact with their children for a long time, and had an extended period of when children were being socialized by them, right? And that's gone. Like really, we may be the inheritors of massive and systemic, like long-term underfathering by children. And it's something that we have been evolutionarily primed to need. So a lot of our social problems come out of that. And then the real question is, how do we bring that back, right? How do we bring that extended involved fatherhood back and make it more, if we want to like improve the species, that is. And we don't do it by underwriting feral feminists breeding with Chad. All right, let's get there we go. I got it back.
All right. Let me just because I got another couple super chows. So I got one from RevTrad, who gives $5 and says, if bears are attracted to the smell of menstrual blood, does that mean women chose the bear because he was the only one who showed up? Ha ha. Okay,
wow,
let's continue. Yeah, kind of gross.
That's shameless. Good Lord. Okay.
So many women are having these conversations in various spaces because then the other women chime in. But let's finish looking at what Dr. Mika was saying. The reality is that women's declining fertility is not a crisis of irresponsibility. It's the predictable result of systems that make motherhood unbearable, lack of childcare.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, we have made things about as comfortable. We've gone way overboard trying to make things comfortable. I'll just let her finish reading that.
Unaffordable housing, unbalanced domestic labor. We'll say that again. Unbalanced domestic labor, and partners who still expect women to carry the emotional and financial load alone.
Yeah, this is absolute nonsense.
No, absolutely.
First of all, it doesn't.
Well, how about this? How about all men just leave? We shut down the government. Shut down the police, shut down the fire departments, shut down the construction workers, shut down the electrical grid, shut down the plumbing. Just all the men just leave, and then they just leave the ladies. You guys have now achieved maximum freedom. Let's see how many babies you make. That's it. So go ahead, make the babies now. You're completely free. We've taken every bit of like burden of men's like labor and existence away, all the infrastructure. Let's just gut it. It's just oppressive, according to Dr. Mika Vidal Taylor. You know, it's what is it? Motherhood unbearable, lack of childcare, unaffordable housing, unbalanced. So if there are no houses, then you can afford them. You can just like, you know, get a mattress and lay down. It's fine. Unbalanced domestic labor. If there's no homes and there's no domestic labor, so that's gone. We can, you know, that's off the list. And partners who still expect women to carry the emotional and financial load alone. I can't even. Okay, whatever. The men. Okay. There's no men. There's no men now. So you're good. You can have babies. Let's see how we do. Okay, go ahead, Alison.
They're extorting their ability to have children to get more of the same comforts that won't actually make them have children. This is the joke. This is like Lucy.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like Lucy pulling the football away from the Charlie Brown at the moment when he tries to kick it. Right? These women are saying, give us some more beanies and we'll finally start to give birth. No, they won't. And first of all, women like this and women like this doctor have no freaking clue what makes women have children. What makes women have children is a man who shows up. That's it.
Yep.
And that's obvious, because if men have literally evolved a secondary sex characteristic related to carrying offspring, then you need a man to have offspring. Like, okay, what does that mean? In order to evolve a secondary sex characteristic like the pelvis that facilitates walking under load, you'd have to have significant evolutionary pressure. That means that the men who didn't have it, their offspring died. So what we're looking at is a situation where human offspring need men to have their fathers, to have that capability in order to survive. That means that any woman who doesn't have commitment from a man is not producing offspring. She is producing dead babies. Right? That's what it means. That's well more important, that this pelvic change in all men as a secondary sex characteristic is well more important than anything else, any kind of fighting, throwing, whatever ability that we attribute to human men. Being able to carry their offspring was more reproductively important than anything else, including, for a bit, the ability to dodge, weave, and sprint and scramble, because that's what you lose with the male pelvis until it develops they evolve the compensatory muscles and anatomical changes to actually compensate for this type of pelvis. Okay, so Neanderthals are actually better over rough ground. Even though they have a female pelvis, they are better at moving when it's dense forest, when it's rocky ground. So men lost that for a bit until they developed the way to compensate for it. So this was a really vital thing for early humans to have, is to have the father be able to carry the offspring large distances. That means you need a father. That means you need a father for the offspring to survive, or at least a pretty dense amount of male relatives who give a crap, because this is quite the ask, right? Quite the ask. So what does that mean? It means that when a woman wants to have a child, and if she's single, it's just probably just some kind of narcissistic fantasy of getting more attention. When she has a partner who's showing up regularly and reliably, that switches on something in her brain that, having children is actually possible now. And nobody talks about this because nobody in anthropology is poisoned by feminism and feminist tropes, right? And they're constantly trying to find the anatomical things in men that make them dominators of women or some crap, right? They don't actually look at this. And they're also poisoned by really bad science from feminists who are trying to prove that the only thing that children need are women and mothers for some reason, right? So but the ultimate conclusion of this is that if this was selected for to that level, it has to have something to do with offspring survival, because it's not a sexual display. I don't think anybody really talks about men's sexy pelvises, right? Whereas you would if it was a peacock's tail. So it has to relate to offspring survival, which means the bond between men and women is a precondition for women to have children. That's it. Not more childcare, not more taxes transferred from men to women, right? Not more abortion or birth control or more whatever thing that she's gaming for. This 44-year-old woman who's, let's face it, nobody's fighting over her fertility because she probably don't have any, right? And she's trying to leverage her non-existent fertility in order to get more beanies, or rather, she's trying to convince women who are still fertile to support her bid for more beanies that won't lead to more children, by the way. That Lucy is always going to pull the football away, guys. Right? And instead, what actually gets women to have children is a man who shows up in a way that feels meaningful. Not Chad.
Yeah.
But what's the middle guy, like Charles?
Oh, I don't know. I forget. I don't remember. The middle guy?
Yeah, and
the guy to step down. No, Chad, I don't think that there's a name for the
Chad
average.
and Chud?
No,
Like
I think
Charles,
that's just
maybe?
Chad and
Chuck?
Virgin.
Yeah.
Virgin and
well,
Chad.
Anyway, there should be, because honestly, that guy is already good enough it should be good enough for the average woman's hypergamy.
Sure.
If men went through the process of evolving the pelvis that allows them to haul heavy loads, that should be good enough for the average woman's hypergamy. Right? Guy can schlep a kid. That's it. That's all you need. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
This paragraph is a mic drop in itself. If governments and societies truly wanted higher birth rates, they would invest in women's health, maternal safety, equal pay, and family support. Maternal safety is so important. Safety from their partners and safety as far as labor and delivery and services and doulas and all of that.
Why are their partners a danger to them? And why do these, I've been saying this from the beginning, since I started doing this. Why do people say society? What does that mean? Doesn't that just mean men?
Yeah.
Why don't you just say men? Why don't you say that? Why do you say society? Because I know why. I mean, part of it is because if you say men, then you have to somehow make the statement work. Men are our enemy, but also we need them. That's that's your problem. So instead you say society. I just it's so brain dead. It's anyway.
Yeah, well, all you have to do now, right, is just every time you hear society, just replace it with men. Right? Men. Yeah. Men need to supply these things, but not in a relationship with me. And suddenly I will actually want to give birth. This is absolute ignorance of herself. Mm-hmm. Okay? She does not know what she wants. I hate to tell you guys.
Still, at 44.
These women do not know what they want, and they do not understand human nature. This woman has not spent her 44 years on this earth cultivating any kind of wisdom or even autistic scientific knowledge like me, autistic, niche knowledge, right? She's got nothing. She doesn't know what and the doctor, even worse, this doctor she's citing, she's using her authority to perpetuate an even greater level of toxic ignorance. Okay, so basically what they're saying is we need more stuff from men. Well, that's okay. First of all, why are you entitled to that stuff from men? But second of all, there's no indication. We've done this now for how many years? At what point do we say that Gynocentrism, we stop saying that true gynocentrism hasn't been tried yet. Like, what point do we stop saying that? What point do we acknowledge that giving more stuff to women has only reduced the birth rate? Giving more stuff to women anonymously so that they don't realize male contribution has not increased the birth rate. And if my hypothesis is right, there's a very simple explanation why. A woman's desire to give birth is reliant on the recognition of a single man invested in her stepping up, not a bunch of anonymous society giving her the stuff she would have gotten from a man. And not just that, this promotion of this atomization and this promotion of women having absolutely no responsibility to their societies, their families, their communities has led to older women like her refusing their role in supporting the reproduction of younger women, supporting the family formation of younger women, supporting the childcare that their daughters need in order to be fully do the adult thing, have children and actually work, which women have done throughout all of human history, by the way. Never had a problem before until we started giving women beanies, anonymous beanies from society. Okay.
Yep.
But you see that entitlement creates more of its own destruction. Okay? Because now men not only have to take over the roles that they did in the past, which is actually well more than the roles that they did in the past, but they also have to compensate for grandma no longer being invested in her grandchildren and instead deciding to go out and get plowed every weekend or whatever grandma's doing now, which isn't, so now men have to compensate for that downstream effect of women's entitlement, right? Like the terminal state of this, I hate to give the towards an individualistic reproduction paper and any kind of credit, but the terminal state of this is artificial wombs. Men just take over everything. And then one day they wake up and they're reproductive coalitions, right? So they got the one dude that's just taking care of the young kid and the other guys who are sort of taking care of him, not in a gay way necessarily. And then they're like, well, why do we ever need women? From their orbital satellite around the solar Disic dome on Alpha Centauri, where they've captured the entire energy output of a sun. What? Geez, do you remember women? Oh yeah, I did. We would sort of, they sort of dragged us down, didn't they? Yep. And then they got rid of themselves, so it solved itself. God damn. They bred themselves out. They decided that they didn't want to contribute to the societies that gave them rights, and so we created a society that didn't need them. Okay.
All right. Back to the video.
Until then, no woman owes her body, her energy, or her future to solve political or economic anxieties. Women do not exist to reproduce. And choosing not to have more children is not selfish, it's survival, wisdom, and self-determination. I love everything about her post.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Well, like I said, that's your civil society in 20 years that you're going to rely on for your own protection and provision, lady. Right? You know the pension thing? That sort of requires children. So if you want to retire, women have to have children. Otherwise, you are going to be working into your 70s. And actually, I don't even think you'll be living into your 70s. But could you imagine that kind of life? Right? This is what she's advocating for. She's advocating for destroying the social support that will keep her alive when she's old.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, this is so empowered. Okay. If you say so, if destroying the culture that gave you rights is empowerment, okay. What do you do with such rampant stupidity?
Oh, I don't know.
But okay, you gotta. I don't usually ask for ploy for sympathy, but at least it's not your sex doing this. You know what I mean, Brian?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I have to sit here and watch women engage in these kinds of arguments and behaviors and be like, how am I part of this group? I don't know.
Okay.
You know what? Can you give me like a reverse trans woman? You're like, yeah, you know what? I've seen my sisters. I now wish to be referred to as not them, not part of them, not part of the same group as they are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue.
All right.
And I did just do this article. It says US sees nearly 6 million, 5.7 million more. It says childless, but let's go ahead and go with child-free because many of these women are opting out on purpose.
US sees 5.7 million more childless women than expected, fueling a demographic cliff. September 17, 2025. Okay. And I'm guessing that she's okay with this. Again, not able to see what the downstream consequences of this are going to be, and that men are going to be able to handle this a lot better than women are. Like men are going to be fine, even if this happens.
Yeah, as long as yeah. Well, they'll be a lot better off, one would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Richard Beer sent a super chat with a link. The link's not working for me, but he just said what does it say? Sears or IKEA will be the reproductive future. And then a PNG.
Okay.
I'm not going to share it. I'm sure it's hilarious. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going.
So the U.S. sees 5.7 million more child-free women than expected, fueling a demographic cliff. So there are more child-free women than they expected. And I've already done the whole article, but I loved this part of the article. It said in 2024, the United States was home to 44.2 million women in the prime childbearing age range, 20 to 39.
Okay. I mean, again, she's just explaining how bad it's going to get, but I think that this is just part of the what would you call it? Like the demand letter that she's in, the ransom letter, the ransom note on society. You're going to have to give this is how bad it's going to get unless you give us more free stuff.
Of this group, 23.1 million or 52% had not given birth. The analysis showed that the number of childless women in this age bracket was 5.7 million higher than it would have been if the fertility patterns of 2006 had continued. This represents a rapid acceleration of the trend, with the surplus of childless women growing from 2.1 million in 2016 to 4.7 million in 2022, and now 5.7 million in 2024. In this.
No, actually let her finish. I want to see what she has to say about this.
All right.
Article that nearly 12 million children, 12 million babies had not been born because of the women in this age demographic opting out of having children. Let the birth rate continue to plummet to hell, because until things get better for women in general in this society, this world, this political climate, this earth, this country does not deserve the sacrifice that goes along with motherhood, because they have made it too expensive. They've made it
who made it expensive? You want to give me some specifics? Just say they, society, men have made it too expensive for women to have kids. Meanwhile, women are having kids, like just not as many.
Yeah, well, actually what's happened is, again, it's not because society has made it more expensive. It's because there's less pair bonding going on. Like literally, this is it, right? You want women to have children, you get them into relationships with men, preferably marriages with men. That's how you get them. And in fact, in Australia, where they actually decompose the numbers into cohabiting, married, and single, married women have increased the number of children that they're having in Australia. You believe that? Like, geez, that's crazy. So among married women in some post-industrial countries, the birth rate is increasing now. Right? So it is 100% an effect of singledom. of women staying unpartnered. So if you want to have children, if you want a society that has children, you need to get women partnered. Now, what is the real problem with getting women partnered? The real problem is, according to the GSS, women's standards, income standards, have increased markedly over the last 100 years. So in the 1900s, a man in the lowest income quartile had a greater rate of marriage than men in the top income quartile today. Okay? What that means is that women progressively over the last century have increased their income standards, and this is all adjusted for inflation. So this isn't just income standard, this is buying power. Women have demanded men with more and more and more and more buying power over the last century, which has reduced the effective number of relationships, which thus has reduced the effective number of children. That's what's driving it. And one of the big problems with that's causing this is, of course, telling women that heterosexuality is the site of their oppression. That when a man commits to them, that is actually them being oppressed. Which, if you think about it, a man committing to a woman, in my hypothesis, is the thing that turns on her willingness to reproduce, because she needs a partner who's willing to put in the 7 years of carrying around a heavy child in order for that child to survive, right? So she needs a pretty committed dude. That's about the biggest commitment well, actually, no, it is literally the biggest paternal commitment in the entire animal kingdom in men. So she needs a committed man. And what did feminism do? Like a goddamn botfly, it seeded that phenomenon with its parasite. It just injected it right in there and said, that's where oppression is, women. That's where it is. Like a bunch of witches casting a curse on the human race. That's where oppression is. That's where you lose yourselves. That's where you're annihilated as a person. When a man commits to you, he's oppressing you. And that is where children come from. That is like the precondition for humans to reproduce. And they poisoned it. And maybe if we stop poisoning it, we can revive it. Get women back into relationships with men and then reap the benefits of fertility down the road. But the other thing is that she is celebrating. This is what she's celebrating, and she doesn't even realize it. It's not just a society that gave her rights, just rights. That's the trivial part. And she'll understand how trivial it is once she hits the other things she's going to lose. Because right now, the apprenticeships and the jobs, the men doing the infrastructure work are starting to thin out everywhere. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the men who are keeping the power plants running, keeping the sewer systems running, keeping the nuclear plants from melting down, all of that work is thinning out. And a lot of it cannot be replaced unless there's apprenticeships. Okay? So what she's talking about, this demographic cliff, is a labor cliff. These are jobs that nobody wants to do, really, because they're hard, they're difficult, they're dangerous, and they're not paid well enough to really attract people, right? And men did them because they could feed a family with them. Now that's not the case, because the income keeps inflating upwards, which is made worse by all of the men who just basically sell Xerox copies of things. But that's another argument for another day. Anyway, So this infrastructure does not have labor to keep it running. So in about 20 years, when the population that these women should have been producing or would have been producing doesn't reach adulthood, hasn't gone into these jobs, she's going to be seeing things when she's 60. I'm going to be 70, so it's not I don't like this at all. But when she's 60, I'm just horrified at her finding this enjoyable. When she's 60, she's going to be experiencing if she's lucky, rotating blackouts, loss of infrastructure. So, I mean, ladies, if you want to experience what it'll be like because you've chosen not to reproduce the labor force, spend a day without sewer, electricity, internet, telephone. No, actually spend a week like that. Spend a week like that. Don't flush your toilet, just shit in a bucket. You don't refrigerate your food, so everything has to be in cans. Wait, no, sorry, you don't get cans either. You got to preserve your food. By the third day, you're probably in the hospital, but you don't get a hospital because you don't have the labor for that. Like we're talking rights, right? We're talking the benefit of advanced pharmaceuticals. How about the benefit of not having to keep yourself warm, keep lighting on, keep food that doesn't spoil? How about those benefits? Because she's cheering losing those too in her 60s. That's what she's cheering. Like, this woman is a lunatic. And every woman who's listening to her is likewise insane. It's the insanity only the weak-minded could embrace. I'm happy. Let's cheer the end of our civilization. Like, this woman probably couldn't handle a day of camping, and she's cheering the end of electricity, lighting, central heating or air conditioning. She's cheering the end of refrigeration. She's cheering the end of even canning, right? She's cheering the end of all of that. And incidentally, the reason why everything is so expensive is because you got rid of the people who focus on producing things for the people who focus on moving things around in a relational web. So there's way more money than things in your economy. That's why everything is so expensive. But that's a story I don't even think that she could possibly understand. She'd just call me a pick-me.
Yep.
All right. I'm done.
All right. I got a super chat from Zeranx for 5, and he says, I figured out the reason for the fall of Adam and Eve, Bill Hicks. And then I got a super chow from Anonymous for $10, and they didn't say anything. But thank you for the super chow anyways. And I got another super chow from Official RevTrad for $10. And he says, on the birth rate and grandmas getting plowed, do you think AIDS has anything to do with all the collapsing things? You can find people on TV in the mid-'80s saying the 1967 sexual liberation has failed. Do you think the fact that AIDS became highly treatable about 15 years ago might have anything to do with this? I don't think that
maybe
much. I don't think that much, because I think that we've
I don't think women were ever worrying about AIDS, really.
Yeah, AIDS was mostly spread amongst gay men, mostly, but there is a little. Obviously, it has gotten into the heterosexual population too, but I think it's still primarily like a homosexual thing because of how it's transmitted. But again, there are bisexual women and men who have come in contact with it. But I think that mainly I was going to say I don't think so, because I think that we've had a pretty decent handle on not treatment, but maintaining, let's say, the disease for a long time, since like the 90s. So I don't know. In my opinion, no, I don't think it has a lot to do with it. Nobafan gives $1 and says, commies, don't worry. We don't need American men to do infrastructure work. We can just hire third world migrants from the back of the immigrant store. From the back, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, unfortunately, the problem is that these same people have been exporting feminism out to these migrant countries, so they're also experiencing
USAID
population collapse. They're also They're also experiencing population collapse. So pretty soon that's not going to work. Mm-hmm. Like the reason why the immigrants are now coming from like sub-Saharan Africa is because it's the only place that still has a plus birth rate. Everywhere else, like India, they're below. So we're probably going to see that dry up. Mm-hmm. And the Middle Eastern countries are rich enough that they often don't even the poorer Middle Eastern countries maybe. But you're not going to see a lot of people from there either eventually, because they're going down too. So yeah, this is the migrants come from the back indeed. And the problem is that the same supply chain disruption is also acting on them. And by supply chain, I mean feminism. All right, so
all right, another super chat. I got another super
Okay.
chat. Sorry,
Okay, gotcha.
Dylan.
That's fine.
102001 gives us $5 and says, our civilization expired just like the childless women. These women are just taking themselves out of reproduction. The future is Amish. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
the problem with the future is Amish is the Amish is going to be like, they still have to live in a devastate, like all of this infrastructure that we've constructed is not net like neutral. It's not going to quietly collapse. Around them. Yeah, around the Amish. We could very well take them out by, all kinds of explosions and environmental degradation from like things melting down.
Or just desperate people wandering through.
Yeah. It's so it's not such a clear cut case, right? Of just the Amish. Oh yeah, and also when the infrastructure fails, people are not going to just go quietly into the night and die. They will go attack the Amish.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, maybe it's a funny meme, but think about it. Think about like millions of hungry liberals swarming the countryside to try to kill anything they can to eat it and take whatever they can from the Amish. Like it's that's the hellscape they want. And I don't even think the Amish will survive it. Perhaps pygmies in the Amazon. Or no, pygmies in like they're in Africa, sorry. The Amazon tribes and the pygmies will survive because nobody can get to them. But anyway, let's shall we continue some more of this lovely lady?
A bit more. I gotta end it soon.
Systematically.
Okay, there's something I did want to.
Yeah, you want to get to it because like I got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's there's a specific. You have to go in 5 minutes. Okay, and this might be a bit too much. Okay, so there's a post that she goes through at 5:36.
Okay, 5:36.
Yeah. A specific post that I wanted to look at.
All right, here we go.
Like me, why am I sticking and staying? And this dude is a fiance. Definitely don't marry a person who doesn't like you. Anyways, let's look at her post. She says, I recently got engaged to my fiance, who is extremely affectionate, loving, and sweet to me daily. We have been together for 5 years and are both 30 years old. However, today I got really upset that I had gained a bit of weight and we argued about it. I always thought, and he assured me, he kept our disagreements and my insecurities private. I keep everything private that he confides to me. Today, I overheard him talking about me while gaming. He thought that I had gone to volleyball. He was saying how much he hates women, that we're all the same, effing can't stand women, and that I drive him crazy. Women are all psychos and are all the same, that it would be easier if they could just be gay together. If your woman doesn't drive you crazy, then she's a dude. He loves me, but I drive him crazy. That right there, that is enough to say we should break up. Because what?
Okay, wait. No. First of all, how do you know he's not like just talking shit with his friends? Do you think he honestly wants to go gay with his friends? Like, I think that's a joke.
I think it is a joke, but of course, she's a woman, so she doesn't have a sense of humor.
Why is she like? But the other thing is that's good. The husbands who hate women make the best husbands.
Yeah, right. You don't have to worry about them cheating.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about them cheating. It's good. They're a little bit skeptical of other women.
I seriously doubt like this whole thing, though. I'm pressing X to doubt on that.
Yeah, I am as well. I am big freaking X. But but my point is not just that, but it's also like sort of something you would predict from like a guy with like strong, like a good solid like vasopressin bed, that because okay, let me use an example from the animal model that they use to sort of understand men's behavior in this. I think it's voles, prairie voles. Pretty sure it's prairie voles. It's mountain voles. It might be mountain voles. Anyway, it's a vole species that has a biparental, so they pair bond. When a male vole pair bonds, he gets really aggressive towards strange females, right? So this might just be a manifestation of this guy becoming extremely skeptical about other women and the existence and usefulness of other women. And it's just, he just bonded to this one. That's all. He's just like, and the other thing is, driving him crazy. Welcome to a heterosexual relationship. You will drive him crazy and he will tolerate it. Right? Yep. That's the way it works. Try not to drive him too crazy. Right? Let him have some peace occasionally. Well, okay.
Yeah.
That's
all
it.
Right. I'll keep playing this.
There's no problems here. That's what I would say. It's probably a joke. 1, 2. It's probably predicted by the fact that he's particularly attached to you and has no longer really that interested in the antics of other women. And 3, yes, you drive him crazy. You're a woman. Don't do it too much. But don't have a problem with him saying it because you probably do. Okay.
All right.
Like, why would you stay with someone that says, I can't effing stand women?
Yeah, X to doubt.
Easier if they could just be gay. Please let them go out and live the life that they want to. Release that man.
Well, I mean, if he hates women and you release him, then you're giving him what he wants. If you actually believe he hates women, but I don't think he does. So I think that he's, like you said, he's just talking shit. I mean, what kind of shit do women say about their men when they're like with their women? How do they rag on them? Yeah, they dog men like all the time when men are not around, especially their own men. But I think that, like, I don't know, in some contexts, a little bit of like blowing off steam about your significant other is sort of normal. Fine. Yeah, and I don't see a problem with it as long as because people get on my nerves, and some of those people are people who are closest to me. You know? Yeah,
because they got more opportunity to do so.
Yeah, because you're around them a lot. It's just exposure. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I think vasopressin, being bonded to her would probably predict that, like a certain amount of aggression towards random other women, because he doesn't see her as other women. He sees her as his woman.
Yes,
and that's an element like that kind of distaste for other women. I would suggest might actually be bond defense. Like he's defending that she is his and she is in some ways better, right? I honestly, I think that she's probably exaggerating what he's saying.
Sure.
And you don't know what the person he's talking to is saying either. But the other thing is that women rag on men, and they rag on the men they're with too. Although sometimes I wonder if that's like mate guarding as well. Because if they tell the women around them, he's not really, you don't want that.
Yeah. For sure.
Stay away. Because the way that women are. But, and most of the time it's like how much they have to take care of them, the men.
Yeah.
Which is, in some ways, it might be humble bragging about how well they take care of them. You know?
Yeah.
So it's, I agree. You've got to give people a little latitude to be annoyed with the pressures of staying in a relationship with someone else because they exist. And as long as it doesn't become too toxic. But I don't know. I think that this is, I think she should be told that it probably is okay. Right? If he hates other women, he's not going to cheat on them with you or cheat on you with them. Okay, let's keep going. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, it's 3, Allison. I mean, is there like one more? Do you want to do like
final? This is
Are you going to finish this clip? Is that it?
Okay, so no, that's fine. You know what? We can leave it at that. I mean, I could read a bit more of the analysis.
Okay.
All right,
Go
so the host on the mitigating context. Honestly, the context doesn't even matter. What made him pop off like that was not a one-off thing. That's how he feels deep down about her and about women. No. This is the thing, right? That's not how he feels about her because he's with her and he's building a life with her. He's not building a life with other women. Women need to break this off. Like, when you're in the orbit of a man, you are his woman. What he thinks of other women does not necessarily reflect on you. He can find other women absolutely irritating because he doesn't have a bond with them that sort of softens the edges of what he needs to do to placate them or deal with their foibles. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like other women's annoyances annoy him more because he's not bonded to them. Host prescription arrives before the OP's updates are read. This is enough to say we should break up. I was looking for the OP's comments because I needed her to stay on breaking up with him. Comment section material, the host reads approvingly on learning the OP is the higher earner. He probably is jealous or insecure about that. That's the reason why he's ranting about women. No. But apparently the OP is the higher earner, so now he's using her as a meal ticket. He wants you to finance his life. His meal ticket just expired. If he's not working, what's the reason? Pulling the long con, hyping you up because he wants you to bankroll his lifestyle. And he's using you. He hypes you up so the gravy train doesn't stop. And then this is all in contradiction to the OP saying that he's employed and he works 12-hour shifts. So he's probably in construction or infrastructure work if he's doing 12-hour shifts. So he's doing the work of actually keeping a society running, because usually office workers don't do 12-hour shifts. That's a little bit specific. And she probably earns more because the world is at this moment awash in avocado toast jobs for women.
Yep.
That doesn't mean she's actually providing more. That's one of the big problems. It's why everything is so expensive, because there's a whole bunch of women with avocado toast jobs doing almost nothing in those jobs, but gaining buying power that's it's not proportionate to what they're contributing back to the economy in terms of services and products. So what happens when you give women all of these jobs that don't demand anything of them, so they're not providing any service or product, and they take the wages they get from those jobs and let those wages chase the smaller pool of goods and services? That smaller pool becomes more and more expensive. So he's actually this 12-hour shifts, he's probably contributing. She's probably just got a bigger wage because she's a woman. And that's how it works, I guess, in our society.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that he's using her. All right, but anyway, if we were to get into this more, we'd have to really dig into this, and it's moving into a different topic. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll just say that this is rank hypocrisy. They simultaneously, this person is simultaneously advocating for men paying for having an income transfer from men to women via the government, and then shaming a man for making less than women. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is why we have the birth rate crisis, because of this is one component of the suite of attitudes that are driving it. And it doesn't help that she's cheering on the destruction of the stable society that she will rely on even more in 20 years without realizing what she's cheering on, but also that she's saying, don't blame us for doing the thing that I'm telling women to do. Don't blame women for doing the very thing that I'm telling them women should do. Don't blame them. Don't blame me. Don't blame them. We're not doing this thing as we do it. And I want you to do it. I want women to do it, but they're not doing it because, you can't blame us. Okay. All right. So anyway, I know.
I got another super chat, but you go ahead and do the thing.
All right, so I'll do the things. If you would like to support the show, feedthebadger.com/support. We're one of the very few outlets who will just shamelessly blame women. All right, even though this woman is saying to women, you should not have children in order to stick it to society She is also saying women should not be blamed for not having children in order to stick it to society. Or you should continue to not have children in order to stick it to society. But women are not to blame for not having children and destroying society. They're just doing it, but they're not to blame for it. Go square that circle, guys. Anyway, if you would like to support us being able to continue to shamelessly blame women, because nobody can stop me, you try, then go to feedthebadger.com/support. And I guess we could be stopped if we didn't support us. So do that. Feedthebadger.com/support. Throw a few shekels in the hat for the fundraiser this month. And if you want to send a message at any time after the show is over, we will address it at the next time we're together. Me and Brian are together. And you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Best way to send us a tip and send us a comment, because we get, YouTube takes a bite out of both comments and tips. And so we get the full benefit of the funds, and you get the full benefit of a comment that hasn't been pre-digested by YouTube. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And finally, if you want to join us in the community, badgernation.online is where you go. And all of these options are in the low bar. So if you want to select one, go ahead and it will take you there. And go do your super chat, Brian.
Okay, so Dylan gave us $5 and said that anonymous $10 super chat was me. The link app crashed mid-payment. Sorry about that, Dylan. I don't know what to tell you. Alison will have to probably check on it to see if there's an issue. But with all that said, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about in the show today, and share the video because sharing is caring. Thanks so much for coming on this episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude, okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.